Okay, only 4 games on the Tuesday slate for the NBA tonight or tomorrow night, as we are trying to get these videos up earlier because, posting them early in the morning really wasn't, working on a consistent basis. So I'm gonna be posting these for the distant future now, the night before. And I know, again, this is gonna be kind of late. It's gonna be about 10:30 on the West Coast when this video goes up, but I think this is slightly better going forward. Again, we're gonna try to get these up a little bit earlier than 10:30, but it is what it is. We've only got 4 games on Tuesday, so a very short slate. You've got the Nuggets taking on the Nets in Brooklyn. You got the Mavs going to Minnesota, you got the Kings going to Utah, and you got the Pelicans going over to San Francisco to take on the Golden State Warriors. The Mavs, Timberwolves, and the Pelicans Warriors games are the TNT games tonight. Before we get into the video, folks, make sure that subscribe button down below for more. Go make sure to join us for our UFC predictions posted on the channel, as well as our college football picks coming out tomorrow, as well as our NFL picks coming out to you on the channel in 2 days as well. All right, we get into our first game. We've got the Denver Nuggets taking on the Brooklyn Nets. The Nuggets are yet to cover this season. I think they finally do. So they finally won a game last night, didn't cover. It looked like they were going to lose that game. They were down big in that one. Ended up getting the win by 2 points against the Toronto Raptors. I mean, it took everything out of Nikola Jokic to win that basketball game. He put up 40 in that one, and the Nuggets won by 2 in OT. My thing with Denver is they have to start just pummeling teams eventually. And if there was ever an opportunity for them to do so, excuse me, it would be against the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, Brooklyn is just, sure, they went out. Somehow, some way, they beat the Milwaukee Bucks, but the Bucks look horrible this season. They still didn't look that great in that game with Boston last night. Look what the Nets are. They're 1-2. Cam Thomas is literally their entire team. He leads their team in points every single night, putting up about 30 points a game. If Denver is able to take away Thomas, they should be fine. I'm not saying they're going to completely get Thomas out of the game plan, of course, for Brooklyn, because he's such a big part of their offense. But I think the Nuggets should be able to absolutely roll the Nets. The Nets have lost 2 games to the Hawks and the Magic so far this year, and then, of course, beat Milwaukee. I just don't think Milwaukee's that great this season, at least right now. I do think the Bucks are going to be a team that is going to go far as the season progresses. They will be deep into the playoffs, at least I think. they're going to go farther than they did last year. But Denver should be able to go out here and absolutely decimate the Nets. I get it. It's the second half of a back-to-back, of course, going to Toronto last night, now down to Brooklyn for this game. Again, the supporting cast for Jokic hasn't been the greatest. It's been primarily Jokic doing everything so far, which, it can only take them so far, obviously. Because last night you have Jokic with 40, and then you got Jamal Murray with 17, Christian Brown with 17, then MPJ 13, Aaron Gordon 16, which again isn't horrible, but you need another 20-point scorer on this Nuggets team. I assume that's eventually going to be Jamal Murray, who has to step up, going 6 for 20, from the field last night. Again, I don't expect the Nuggets to be this bad for this long. They should be able to run right through Brooklyn. Give me the Nuggets to go into Brooklyn and cover the 7.5 and obviously win the game as well. Next up, we go on to the first of the 2 TNT games. We've got the Dallas Mavericks going to Minnesota to take on the Timberwolves. Give me the Timberwolves to cover the 3.5 and give me Minnesota to win the game as well. The Timberwolves are 2-1 so far this season. Their only loss being that game to the Los Angeles Lakers on opening night. Since then, back-to-back victories in Sacramento and then a win over the Toronto Raptors as well. And Julius Randle, again, is going to continue to be that second option for Anthony Edwards. And I think it's going to continue to really help out this Minnesota team as a whole. Again, Randle led their team in points in the Sacramento and the Toronto games with 33 and 24 respectively. And of course, Anthony Edwards is going to get his shots and Edwards is going to be able to score as well. And they're taking on a good team. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Again, Dallas is a tremendous team as well. They are 2-1. Their only loss so far this season is on the road to the Phoenix Suns. And as we just saw, of course, Phoenix is a tough team to go on the road and beat. The Lakers just experienced that firsthand, obviously. But for Dallas, again, the wins are over San Antonio and Utah, 2 teams that aren't the greatest. I think Minnesota is going to be able to have a day. Again, I think the lack of depth, at least the center position or at least not depth for the center position for the Mavericks, but at least consistent play at the center position. I think Rudy Gobert should have a good day on the glass against Daniel Gafford, at least I would think. And it's, of course, I like Julius Randle against PJ Washington in that matchup as well. I just think Minnesota right now is the better team, at least coming into this game. Again, we've got a long season ahead, but everything considered, I think these 2 teams are very evenly matched. And on top of that, this game is in Minnesota. I like the Timberwolves to go out there and pick up the victory and cover the spread as well. 3.5 might be 4.5 now, but again, I do like Minnesota, Anthony Edwards, and Julius Randle. Again, it's much different than last season with, of course, Karl Anthony Towns, but I do like what Randle's been bringing to this team over 2 games so far. It's interesting, but again, Randle with 16 that Lakers game, 33 though it's the Sacramento game, and 24 against the Raptors. and his rebound numbers have been there as well every single game too. I like Julius Randle, Anthony Edwards, and the Timberwolves to beat the Mavericks. Again, I think Dallas is a great team, but I just think Minnesota right now is better, and with this game being in Minnesota as well, I like the Timberwolves to go out there and pick up the victory. Let's go on to our next one. We go to Utah. The Delta Center, we've got the Jazz taking on the Sacramento Kings. I am taking the Jazz to cover the 4.5 points. I think now it's 5.5, so even better. It's gone our direction. The Jazz have to have a close game eventually, right? That's the way I see it. They got to play a close game eventually. With the exception the Kings win over the Trailblazers, they played 2 very close games back to back. They lost the T-Wolves by 2. They lost the Lakers by 4 points. I think Sacramento probably wins this game, probably. But I'm going to lay the 5.5 on the Utah Jazz in this game. I'm going to. Again, I don't think this team gets blown out 4 games in a row. They were kind of competitive in the Dallas game, but Dallas was really in control of that game as the entire way. Again, and I've been crapping all over the Jazz this entire season because they're just not great. They aren't, right? Taylor Hendricks gets injured tonight. That's rough. Again, though, I don't think this team can go 4 straight games getting blown out back-to-back nights. I really don't think so. You know how hard that is to do in the NBA? So many games are competitive down the stretch, in NBA games. I don't think the Jazz have 4 straight blowout losses. They're back home after a 1-game, road trip against the Mavs. I mean, 4 at their first 5 games are at home. They started at home with Memphis, lost the game by 2. Oh, actually, I forgot that game was close. I'm not going to lie. Regardless, lost to Memphis by 2. They got blown out against Golden State. Dallas kind of handled them. I like Utah to go out there and, at least put up a fight against the Kings. I think Sacramento wins the game. Obviously, Sacramento has way better talent, obviously, with De'Aaron Fox, with DeMar DeRozan, with Domantas Sabonis. Again, I will speak at lengths about how good the Sacramento Kings are and about how solid of a team they are going to be this season, and I think they win this game. But I think on the road, 5.5 is a lot to cover. Give me the Jazz to cover the line, but of course, I'm taking the Kings to win. I think this is a very close game towards the end of it. I think Sacramento pulls it off, but give me Utah to cover the 5.5. I don't feel great about that one. I'm not going to lie, but give me Utah to cover the 5.5 points. As we go on to our final game of the night, we've got the New Orleans Pelicans going on the road to take on the Golden State Warriors. Guys, we are all over the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, the Pelicans have killed us so far this season. They have, right? We thought they were going to cover 5.5 against Portland. The first game, they only win by 2. We thought they were going to beat Portland the second game. They lose the game by 20 points. That's fine. They get a Steph Curry-less Warriors team that is just going to struggle. Guys, we saw how they struggled against a good team, the Los Angeles Clippers, on Sunday night. I said that. Regardless of the Curry injury, the Clippers were on their way to win that basketball game, and I said that going into that. I was like, again, the Warriors are beating Portland and Utah. Well, now they get a real solid team in the Los Angeles Clippers. And what happened? The Clippers went on the road and outscored the Warriors. And on top of that, now Steph Curry's injured. I don't expect Golden State to win this game with Curry hurt. I mean, we're getting New Orleans, I believe, what they are. They started the day as underdogs. At least they started Monday on underdogs. I think they have now shifted to -1.5. Regardless, the line is still close, and we are hammering the New Orleans Pelicans. They're coming off a loss to the Portland Trail Blazers. It is what it is. They have back-to-back games on back-to-back nights against the Warriors. I expect them to win both these games. I do. I expect New Orleans to win both these games back-to-back, and I expect them to do it off the backs, of course, of a dominant performance by, Zion Williamson. He has not had that big performance yet this season. CJ McCollum got going in the last game. They had Brandon Ingram score 33 in their opener against the Chicago Bulls, who, by the way, we said was going to go on the road and win as 7.5 point dogs last night. I'm just saying. Again, we have not seen a dominant performance yet out of Zion Williamson. I think this is where we get it. Guys, the Warriors are so mid without Steph Curry. This is the starting lineup tomorrow night. And Andrew Wiggins is questionable. I think he'll probably play. But you got Podziemski at the 1, probably, Wiggins at the 2, Kuminga at the 3, Draymond at the 4, Trace Jackson Davis at the 5. But then the bench unit is, okay, Buddy Hield, Kyle Anderson, Moses Moody, Kevon Looney. It's just, D'Anthony Melton's hurt too. I don't like anything the Warriors have got going in this game. Again, even if Steph Curry was playing, I'd be taking the Pelicans. But now with Curry out, everything shifts in the favor of the New Orleans Pelicans, who have been kind of underwhelming to start the season. They will not remain underwhelming. The Pelicans will get things going, and they will definitely get things going tomorrow night on the road on TNT against the Golden State Warriors. So give me the Pelicans to finally break through. I mean, they're 2-1. Both these teams are 2-1, but I think the Pelicans go to 3-1 with a victory on the road. Again, even if Curry was playing, I would feel good about the Pelicans, but now with him out, I feel even better about the New Orleans Pelicans going on the road and winning this game. We're going to keep taking the Pelicans till they hurt us, which they already have, but we're going with the New Orleans Pelicans to win the nightcap against the Golden State Warriors. And folks, that'll do it for our little 4-game slate on Tuesday for the NBA. We'll be back tomorrow for, I believe, a 12-game slate or an 11-game slate on Wednesday. So folks, thank y'all for watching. Make sure that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Make sure to join us tomorrow night again for more NBA picks, and tomorrow afternoon for our college football picks, which are weekly on the channel as well. So folks, thank y'all for watching. Make sure that subscribe button down below for more, and Mamba forever.